I do think it's looking more and more likely. Now, look, Lakers are known to do things out of left field, right? How many times did we see, especially even last year, where it was like, Lakers are good, they're standing pat, nothing's going to happen, right? We literally got a report that the Lakers weren't going to do anything, they were going to run it as is, and then like 48 hours later, the Lakers trade for Dorian Finney-Smith. And then we got another report that they're good, happy with Dorian Finney-Smith, everything's good, that they think that this team is enough, and the next thing you know, they trade for Luka Doncic, right? So again, keep in mind that just because it appears right now, oh, it's quiet, on the Western Front, things could change rather quickly for the Lakers. And now, obviously, there's the potential of guys just stepping up, right? So you look at Jared Vanderbilt, he could be much improved shooting the three ball this year. You look at Jackson Hayes, who we saw in a pinch, be able to operate as your starter, right? Now he's moving back to a more, in my opinion, a better backup role. I think that he's better suited in a backup role. He can continue to improve. He can continue to get better. And there's the potential that, that the Lakers will be fine in those regards. If Jake LaRavia and Jared Vanderbilt kind of balance themselves out, all of a sudden we could be looking and going like, hey, why make a trade? Like, these two guys are covering it. The Lakers are one of the best teams in all of basketball, right? Now you can kind of be patient and wait for that opportunistic trade. But one trade in particular that I don't really think it will happen or would happen this off season. I think that this would be kind of more something that could happen as we get closer to the trade deadline. And that is a Phoenix Suns trade, but in particular for Dillon Brooks. To me, it boils down if Phoenix is just not very good. If Phoenix ends up having a bad season or missing the play-in or something like that again, then I could see them kind of going like, hey, let's kind of clear the deck as much as we can. I mean, but I could see Phoenix kind of being like, hey, let's go in as is, kind of see how this plays. But I could see if Phoenix isn't very good as we inch closer to, the trade deadline, them being like, hey, let's kind of retool next season, right? We got the center position locked up. We got, Jalen Green and Devin Booker. What do we do from here, right? Because Dillon Brooks is making 21 and some change this million, and he's going to make 19, almost 20 million next year, right? So they could look at it and go like, hey, let's get off of his contract. Let's get off 20 million. Let's get it some assets and kind of restructure, revamp this team. Unless they see Dillon Brooks as a long-term answer at the three, which maybe they do. But there was talks even when they traded for Dillon Brooks that they might look to reroute him and trade him at some point. They're trying to get off of guys like Grayson Allen and all these other guys. So I do think Phoenix is likely going to kind of continue to make moves going into the season. And I wouldn't be shocked if they try to get off of, again, guys like Grayson Allen and Dillon Brooks and try to just kind of clear salary, which is where the Lakers could come in because the Lakers have a ton of expiring contracts. So the Lakers, problem is that the Lakers are really good, right? And that's not like a pressing need, then you might not need to make this trade. But even then, depending on what the cost is, it might be worth it. Problem is, would the Lakers give up their first? I don't know if they would. I doubt that they would, right? And would Phoenix be willing to do it without a first, right? Would they be willing to kind of just clear the salary? Because I think Dillon Brooks would, for a contending team, would probably yield the first, because not all firsts are created equal. All right, there's a very big difference between a unprotected lottery pick from like Charlotte, and a pick from like OKC where it's like they're going to be, and it's lottery protected just in case. Like there's different degrees of first. So I could see Dillon Brooks potentially yielding something just because of the position that he is such a need and want in this league. I could see Dillon Brooks kind of, adding some value trade-wise. Like I don't think like the package you'd have to send out to get him. Like I think he's a guy that's realistic for the Lakers to get. Like I don't look at it as like there's no way you're trading for Dillon Brooks type. It'd take 3-4 for like, no, he's a good player. He's a solid player. Like I know people are going to bring up like the LeBron thing. Like, LeBron doesn't care. LeBron played with Lance Stevenson and Lance Stevenson was like giving him wet willies and blowing in his ear. Like he's not worried about Dillon Brooks, like, trying to act like a tough guy, right? Like he's not worried about it. And he bullied him and bodied him. Plus, Lakers could use that kind of toughness. Lakers could use a guy like him that's kind of just, willing to go get in a squabble and, pick up a flagrant or a technical or something. Like that's what I wanted like Trey Jamison to be for us last year. Like, give me a guy that's willing to get into the foxhole. Give me a guy that's not, that, is willing to get under someone's skin and talk some mess. Right? Lakers could use that. Give me a dog. Give me You got Marcus Smart. Give me Marcus Smart and Dillon Brooks and let those two just kind of go crazy. I'd be pumped for that. But point is, like, if the Lakers are still kind of like, hey, we could make this move, or if the price is reasonable and it's not a price where you have to sell the farm in order to go and acquire him, then I'd still look to go and make that move for him. No, maybe it's a 3-team deal, maybe it's something, but like, to me, I think it really boils down to how is Phoenix, right? Phoenix, you would imagine, are probably going to be pretty bad, but don't be shocked if they're like half decent. Now they at least have better balance, right? Still a little awkward with Jalen Green, Devin Booker, but I do think that there's better balance, right? And then you add in, Dillon Brooks, and they got, the center position, they got an excellent center kind of rotation and stuff. So we'll kind of see how that plays out for them in particular. But I don't think it's enough like high-end talent for them to actually like do anything serious. But if they're like a play-in team or borderline, right, I could see the Phoenix Suns going like, hey, let's kind of get off of some salary, get a legit kind of defensive 3-and-D wing. Right? Same thing with a team like the Phoenix Suns. Go and get a Nick Richards who can fill in and play that role, but also get a 3-and-D wing and a guy in Dillon Brooks that can solve and do some stuff in that regard, right? Like I mentioned, Dillon Brooks, we'll call it $22 million just to be safe because it's 21 and some change. Remember, Lakers are like right at that threshold. Probably have to get a third team involved. Right, so, Lakers maybe have to give up a second or a pick swap or something like that to make it work or make it happen. But, that's something like if you can't do a Wiggins trade or something like that, maybe you look to pivot and go do, maybe you even are trading Rui. I mean, I try to keep Rui. Point is, you can make it happen. And then Dillon Brooks, same thing. Dillon Brooks is still young enough to where he could be a piece long-term. Right? He's currently on the right side of 30. He'll be 30 years old in January. So basically midway through the season, but still young enough to be a piece long-term. Also, his contract lines up with the 2027, right? So that's something to kind of keep in mind too, which the Lakers want to keep that cap preservation for 2027. Dillon Brooks is a guy that would keep that. And at that point would only be going into being 32 at that point. So you could even sign him to another deal to where he could be, a rotation piece or a starter or something like that. Maybe getting him on a reasonable contract, especially if he's on a team like the Lakers. But, you look at Dillon Brooks, like Dillon Brooks is the guy, is kind of like the prize in my opinion, right? That's the guy that the Lakers, I think, need more. You look at Dillon Brooks, plays last few games, 75 games, 72 games, 73 games, right? Best ability is availability. But last year, 75 games, 32 minutes per game, 12 field goal attempts, shot 43% from the floor. 3-point range, shot 39.7% on 6.3 attempts. So again, you talk about a guy, he's career 35.5% 3-point shooter, but shot nearly 40% on 6 attempts. Talk about volume, shooting, all of that. But 2-point range on 46.5%, 5.7 attempts, EFG of 53.3%. Free throw percentage was 81.8%. From the rebounds, 3.7 rebounds, so basically 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, half a block, and 14 points per game. So a guy that gives you some production,